Hello, hello. I told everybody I changed the thumbnail. I didn't tell them I changed my intro and outro too. I was in a mood early. Well, it was on the weekend, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say your mood wasn't today, it was a few days ago.
Yeah, it was I like scheduled it early and everything. I was on top of it this time. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. My name is Kat. I am the Nurse Flipper. And if you do not know, that is my co-host, Sonny, Las Vegas. Below me, a good friend of mine. She hasn't been on a little while, so super excited to have her back, Rachel Strickland. And then Patty Corner, you might have seen her in the chat, is Miss Ashley from Titchy Farm Treasures. It is her first time here, so we are happy to have her here. So I am going to make Rachel and Ashley big and let them introduce themselves, and then we will get to your questions. So here is Miss Rachel.
Hi guys, I'm super glad to be here tonight. If you have fashion luxury bag questions tonight, be sure to stick them in the chat because I'd love to entertain any of those. As you can see, kind of my specialty right now. Selling over on eBay and whatnot, and I have the YouTube channel here, Rachel Strickland.
Perfect. Here is Ashley.
Hi guys, I'm Ashley with Titchy Farm Treasures. I have been reselling for just under 2 years. I resell on eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, and Poshmark, and I'm excited to be here tonight.
Perfect. Where's my button?
Somewhere.
Let's see what we got. I know we got Miss Linda sent a super chat and she also sent a question. So we'll answer a question and then I'll throw the super chat up there. She wants to know, what is the best or easiest platform to live list and why? I'm more worried about shipping correct items to people than the live part. So I think she's talking about live sales, if I'm understanding her correctly.
I can definitely only speak to live sales on Whatnot, but I'm a huge advocate. I love Whatnot. As far as ensuring that you're shipping the correct item to the correct person, your shipping page on Whatnot actually breaks down. Rachel Strickland bought this Dooney and Burke bag and it shows the picture, the listing photo is even there. So as thorough as you are in the listing process is as thorough as you can be in the shipping process. And you've already put in all of your weights. So those are in 5-pound blocks. It's pretty foolproof as long as you follow the rules. If you go on Whatnot and just aim to sell one thing, you'll get a crash course in selling, shipping, and completing those orders. So just go live one time, try to sell one thing and see how well you like it would be my best advice.
I don't sell live. I only sell on static marketplaces. So I'm going to pass it on to Sonny.
I just now got back into Whatnot and I freaking love this question because I'm killing it. And for me, that is, I'm knocking out 2 bills in one show within an hour. I just had my second show, and the little hiccup I came up with last night was that as much as you try to be organized, you're going to get excited, you're going to be in the moment, and you're going to put stickers on things like I did or however you do it and put a number base to say like heavyweight item number 1 or so on. Well, I just put the sticker on. So I had to go through so much orders last night. It was the last one that I figured out that belonged to one of the set of orders. And what I like about Whatnot, Rachel reminded me of my very first show, probably about 2 years ago. I ended up thinking every hat had to go in its own type of package. So I had around 25 boxes ready when I only needed around 5. And like Rachel said, you'll see what you order or a customer orders. It could be 1 item, it could be 5, it could be 20. And then you got to figure out if it all goes in one box to ship it safe or if you're going to divide them. But it's fairly easy. Take it slow, have a baby step, check the process like Rachel said, or just go all out and figure it out afterwards. But just know that it does take some time to ship items, as you probably already know.
Yeah, so I would say Tucker brought up one thing I was going to say, and that is that Whatnot has video receipts, which is nice. Now, if you sell 100 plus items, you're not going to want to watch a video receipt for 100 items. I will say that. In the beginning of Whatnot, was cataloging everything, taking photographs, doing the weight, like Rachel was saying. And then I found out if I had a crappy show, I was losing money because I was spending 3 hours cataloging this stuff for half of it not to sell. So we have went to not cataloging, and that's what I've done for about the past year. And what we do when we do like shop the shed, which is fun, it's what I'm going to do with my salt and pepper shakers, is take a picture of it and just do a fast listing. Like if somebody says they want this item, take a picture, then you'll have their invoice with the pictures of what they got. The only problem with the number system, which is what I use for jewelry, we number envelopes 1 through 100. I just put 100 quantity, we put them in the envelope, is if when we reuse the envelopes, and if one of them is missing and I don't catch it, then all of my numbers after that are out of order. And then I have to go back and figure out, wait, what was missing and where am I off? Or like I sold little trinket boxes with the jewelry and I didn't give it a number, and I put the trinket box in an envelope when it shouldn't have went in an envelope. And then my numbers were all off by 1. So I do district with knickknacks, and you can do a quick ad like that on district, just like you can on Whatnot. Snap a picture, do a quick ad. And then you have the photos. So I think that's probably the best way if you're not cataloging. If you're cataloging, then you don't have to worry about the weight. If you don't, though, you need to know that weight. Like for example, with the jewelry, it's all going to be 2 ounces or less. So I don't have to worry about like different shipping weights. I used to do like Sonny did with when I did linens, and I would do like 0 to 4 ounces, 4 to 8, 1 pound, 2 pound. And I just had the scale on the desk. So I would like weigh the linen item and then I would pick it. And with stuff like linens, I made poly bags for the buyer. So I would like, if Rachel was in my show, she was buying, I'd put Rachel on a poly bag. Everything she bought, I'd stuff in there. If Ashley was buying, I would do that. And I just have a box with the polys lined in it, almost like a filing system. And I just know. And if I didn't remember later in the show, I'd be like, oh, did you buy something? Do you have a bag yet? Because I'd tell them when they bought their first thing, okay, I'm making you a bag. Now you have a bag. So for non-breakables, that works very, very well. But I don't know that one's necessarily easier than the other. I feel like district kind of brings you people where Whatnot, you have to work for your people. So I think district's a little easier without a following. But when I was running them simultaneously, I was doing almost exactly the same amount of sales on district as I was on Whatnot. So, and I did it like repeatedly, and it came out pretty darn close as far as the money. But I have a following, so you have to remember that. Like, I think I have 15,000 followers on Whatnot, but I still only get like 20 to 30 people in my shows. I don't get a ton anymore because I stopped. So if you start, I would say consistency is key, because I lost a ton of followers because I just stopped doing it. So hopefully that helps. And what am I going to do? I'm going to do my octopus, I think. Let me find him. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Here you go. Dun, 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 dun. And then my good friend Elena, Treasure Diva Thrift, sent a $4.99 super chat. She actually went thrifting. Me, her, and my boyfriend Tyler went thrifting last Friday together. And the first of those videos came out yesterday on my cat's treasure hunting. So Elena was in that. She walked up to me and was talking. She's like, "Are you recording?" And I was recording the whole thing. So if you want to see her in some of my videos, she's there. And I think she was recording too. I don't know if she got that out yet. But she said, "Thanks for doing the podcast and continuing to help how we resell." I'm going to give her the kitty cat because she likes it. And here you go. I see, Rachel, I see you smile. I have like 20 super chats now. It's absolutely so crazy.
My son would love that kitty cat one. He loves cats.
We just got a new cat, a new rescue cat, and I am so happy because the blind cat, Honey, has finally made friends with her, and they are hilarious. They run around the house, chasing each other, jumping. But we have Pig inside because Pig had to have surgery and is on antibiotics. So it's a little interesting in the house now, and we have another baby. And she is like, it's so funny. We lift her and she's so light because our boy cats are like 10. Well, Honey's 14 pounds. And then you lift this like less than a pound kitten. You're like, oh, okay.
It's like a Lion King moment.
Yeah. She's absolutely hilarious. But my sister found her in the woods. Somebody dumped her in the woods. Her and 4 siblings. I took one. I could not do more than one. One was enough. All right. Rolling with the Stones said eBay has been pushing additional insurance on items over $100. You get a pop-up when purchasing the label. How much responsibility should eBay take if the buyer doesn't cooperate? In order to send and submit an insurance claim, UPS requires additional photos and possibly pickup of the item for inspection. But if the buyer isn't cooperating, do you think that eBay should take responsibility?
I did have a buyer one time who was being pretty argumentative right out the gate with a keyboard that I mailed. And they kind of sounded like they weren't really going to work with us. It was an expensive item. I had taken out the additional insurance, but as they stated, and this was with FedEx, you still needed, the additional photos. So I actually emailed eBay preemptively and let them know, here's why I think this buyer is not going to play along, and here's what I am doing, because I kind of wanted to get ahead of a buyer complaint or a buyer INAD, because if you get an item not as described as a return, it doesn't matter what you did to help. It's an automatic return. So you want to try to get in front of things like that. And it does help because I feel like in that instance that I let the buyer know that I'd reached out to eBay also and that we needed to work together in order for this to actually work, because they can't use the insurance. You were the one that took it out as the seller, as the purchaser of the label. So I just let my buyers know. I mean, I guess the question here is how much responsibility should eBay take? It's almost a moot point. It almost doesn't matter what we think, because I agree with, I think that Rolling with the Stones, that they should say, hey, if you're not going to help, then you can't get your return or your refund. But I don't think realistically that that's ever going to happen. So my best advice would be to that you catch more flies with honey and to talk sweetly to your buyer. Apologize for the situation, for whatever part of it was your fault, or just that I really regret that this happened, even if you're not sorry, because you might have packaged it great. I regret that they handled it this way, but if we work together, we can figure it out. And hopefully you won't get to the point where your buyer's just refusing to work with you. I think if you're sweet enough and you smile, even though they can't see that, they can read a lot through your tone of voice and just your willingness to help push it along.
I agree with that, with what Rachel said. I can't say that I've ever experienced a buyer not being willing to work with me. I've had 2 refunds even in the last month, and they've been rather cooperative. As far as eBay having to take responsibility, they're a large business, and I don't really see them stepping in to do so, but I do feel like they probably should. But I think I agree. We catch more flies with honey.
Yeah, if eBay is enforcing it, though, I think that's a couple of key words to consider. If they're enforcing insurance, then they should be working more than what they have been in the past with issues that haven't worked out for sellers. I know I've had similar issues. Insurance isn't very much, and I would cover as much as it costs the value of the item. I have seen some people try to say it was worth more, but you're only going to get what you pay for if it's covered by insurance. And yeah, I agree with Rachel with it's probably not going to go on our end if we try to say ugly about it, which she is encouraging to be positive. And the reason for that on your end, if you've never experienced this before, eBay will see your messages to them and they will see their messages to you. So you got to take that in consideration. Always think about, how do I look on the other end? And is it going to help me out to just be bitter about things, even though you get very upset and frustrated? This is just one person when you probably have so many more items to be focusing on and things to be doing in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So For me, I just got a check for something today from USPS. But it was only like $38, but they lost it. And if they lose something, you're going to get a check regardless because they can't prove whatever. So that one I got a pretty fast check for. My buyer was super understanding. They didn't message me till it'd been a month, and I don't look back to make sure my items are delivered. We sell way too many to follow all of them. So unless they message me, I don't know that they didn't get it. And so he messaged me. I was like, let me open a missing claim. It takes a week. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Then he messaged back and I'm like, I'm just going to refund you. I'll file, for the insurance. And I got it. As far as like the more expensive stuff, I feel like this falls to, unfortunately, to you because it's your business. You're the one selling. eBay is a platform for your business. They're not the business. You are. So I haven't seen them pushing for the additional insurance, but you can't make a buyer do anything. I had a buyer one time, the post office wanted them to bring the items to the post office. So they brought them to their local post office. And then they're like, no, this isn't the main post office. You need to bring it to another one. And it was like $600. And they're telling me every time they're going to these post offices and nobody's there to inspect the item. And I finally gave them their money and told them to stop trying because I wouldn't want to do that. Like, I'm not going to run all over bringing an item to different post offices. So for me, I don't know that it's the buyer's responsibility to run that item all over the place. I think it sucks that the post office makes them if you have photographs. But, and some of them, before COVID, they used to just pay them with the photos. And then after they started wanting people to bring the items in. So I just like with the one I paid her because I was like, I stop running all over. And she was very nice and she was being cooperative, but she had went to like 3 post offices and still not got to whoever needed to inspect the thing. I do not see eBay taking any responsibility for that. But I think eBay is a middleman. They're a platform for your business. So that's like the crappy returns too. It's theft, which sucks. I had one today, and I'm not going to throw a fit, but I did report the buyer. They bought a polo for me that didn't have a button. It was like a V-neck polo, but there was no button. And that's how the shirt was made. It was brand new with the tags. They opened it as defective because it didn't have a button that it was not supposed to have. It was brand new. So I couldn't get my shipping back, which was the same cost as the shirt. And I could only deduct 50%. Even they took the tags off, they wore the shirt, they sent it back, and I couldn't get hardly anything back. So I reported them, but I'm not like, it's not a lot of money. So I'm probably not going to go through eBay customer service. I think you can and be like, hey, this is how it came back. And eBay is supposed to cover it for seller protection and give me all of the money back. But it's not enough money to like wait an hour for eBay for me. So I'm just going to let it go. But a lot of that stuff, like Sonny was saying, like, I got to the point where it's not enough to ruin my whole day. I'd be mad for 2 days about a return or negative feedback. And now I'm like, whatever, like, and I was almost at 99.9%, and somebody just accused me of selling an inauthentic Tiffany box that I had the receipt for from Tiffany. I know it's not authentic, and I think if they do return it, they're doing a switcheroo because they originally messaged me and said, hey, this is for a gift. Is it in perfect condition? That was their first message. And then on the return, they're like, this was to replace the top on my box. I'm like, oh, was it? So they left me a negative feedback and said I didn't answer them when I responded immediately, but they didn't like how I responded and said, I know this is authentic. And now I'm worried they're going to send me back an inauthentic one. But it hasn't shown shipped yet. So I'm hoping they just don't do it. And I just got the negative feedback. If they do, I'll just deduct the 50% and be out money, which again, it sucks, but how much is ruining your day worth, So I've got to where, and it took me a long time to get to the point where I can just be like, whatever. But I luckily am at that point. Thank goodness. All right. Constance wants to know, does eBay expect for the photos on my listings to be square? And how important is this? And any photo tips will be appreciated.
I do have a whole video on taking listing photos with everything from your phone, an almost free listing photo with sunlight, all the way up to a $500 listing photo with photo box lights and a professional camera. So if you want to seek that out, no matter where you're at, there's a video on it. That being said, I take all of my photos in 1x1 square, not strictly for eBay. I don't want to have to format those for any platform. And I find that even if a platform wanted a 9x16 or something, a 1x1 is almost always going to work in some capacity. It's very centered image. I do use white backgrounds. I want people to know exactly what they're buying. I don't use other props or anything like that. So a white background, very bright, very well lit, 1x1, just because, again, you can use that across the board. That has been the standard on eBay. I think at one point, maybe they switched from a 1x1 because it seemed like the photos were a little off. I still upload 1x1 and that works just fine. And that is a square. Same thing as like Instagram recently changed theirs too. And am I ever going to stop taking pictures in squares? No, it's never going to happen because then I can manipulate them any which way. And I just think that it's best across all platforms. So I think that that's the best for eBay.
I agree with Rachel. I also use square format when taking photographs, and I just use my iPhone, and I also utilize Photo Room with good lighting in the background and white backgrounds with the square.
I used to focus a lot on having a solid background. Now I do it on my kitchen, well, not kitchen floor, my living room floor. It's like wooden tile-esque, and it's clean. There's no dust bunnies or anything. And yeah, I like the 1x1. It's the square. It's pretty much the standard for just about everything, unless you're are going to want to ask. I know some people are probably thinking this, well, what if I want to use it for a vertical reel? Then you just have to edit it and stretch it out and see if it works, which the pointer for that, if you go online, I've been seeing this on eBay. Do you need a square photo for things? No, I've seen photos of items so far back, I can't even see it in a photo that I'm trying to zoom in. All you're trying to do is have something clear that your customers, potential customers, are going to look for that isn't confusing and make it convenient and have the correct information to go along with it. It could be blurry. I've seen blurry photos, but you just want to try your best and make it as easy and clear as possible.
Yeah, I do. They don't expect it, but it looks better because their format is for square. So they don't expect you to do it. But if you fill that square and it looks better, I think Google is gonna like rank your listings higher than if something's not centered and has, a bunch of extra space on the side. I know they said the 1-to-1, but there's also square mode on some phones. My internet went out for about a minute and a half there. But I think it's important because I think people seeing your item is important, and most people are scrolling on phones. So those are tiny pictures. And if you fill that square, they're going to be able to see your item better. For us, we use Photo Room to remove the backgrounds. And I agree with Rachel. It drives me crazy when people put other stuff in the pictures because I feel like a lot of people don't read and your buyer thinks they're going to get the other props that you're using with your item. So be very, very careful about that. And the biggest thing is, 1-to-1 is square, Constance. That's what mine says. Yeah, that's what you want. The biggest thing is that your lighting is good, that it's in focus, which is really hard with jewelry. I've been doing jewelry for years and I still have a hard time with some things. And that it's centered, I would say, is the biggest thing. Chad, I have to find your shirt. I have way too many clothes. But yes, I can wear your shirt. I just have to find it. I have to stop make myself stop buying clothes because I have like a 10 by 10 closet that is like jam packed full of clothes and a dresser. So but it was almost all $1 clothes. Like it was super cheap. So, and that's the problem. I see cute stuff for $1. I'm like, oh, I like this. And then I just keep getting it. But
$1's a deal.
I got to stop. It is. This cardigan is woolen was $1. Like, how can you not get that? Like,
I love wool.
yes, wool is great. All right, let's find. What are we gonna do? Oh, we'll do Sonny for Chad. Here you go.
I want to try that, but I don't want to mess up my hair.
I know. I'm like,
I don't want to mess up my hair either, Rachel.
all right. So Miss Sohila said she sold a pair of earrings, $70. The buyer requested a return, saying they thought they were a pendant. Okay, I looked at this listing for her because I was coaching her. So I am familiar with this situation. It was very clear in her title and her photos that these were earrings. So she sent a return label, and then the buyer, eBay paid, and the buyer said, I think she clicked to refund is what happened before the buyer sent them, and the buyer saying they sent them and they came back. I'm not sure because I messaged her to clarify this. She said that on her seller metrics, it says it was without seller resolution. So I wanted to explain what that is. And what it is typically if you receive a return back or you don't accept a return, like if they said it was not as described and you just let it sit there and don't hit accept return, decline return, that's when it says it's without seller resolution. The other way can be if you receive the item back, eBay says, hey, we have tracking, you got it back, and you don't refund and eBay forces that refund, that is also without seller resolution. So can you, and she said she's talked to eBay twice and they say they're going to remove it and they have not. So do you have any tips? Like if somebody runs into having something saying without, like with the return, how do you handle it as far as your returns? And I know you're not listing a ton on there anymore.
Yeah, but my first response was going to be to call eBay directly. I mean, they said that they've talked to eBay twice. I don't know if that's via email or any type of online messaging. I would definitely get on the phone with somebody. It's unfortunate if you've already done that. Third time's a charm, right? Me personally, I wouldn't give up on it unless it was like a $6 item or something, especially when it shows without seller resolution, because that is going to affect your seller level. And if you don't sell a lot, 1 out of 10 items is 10% of your items. You understand? Like that's going to take a long time to fall off depending on the volume of sales that you have. So it's worth more than the money of the item. It's worth the additional fees, because if your level falls below standard, you get charged additional fees. I don't know if you or anyone in the chat is aware of that. It is very important that if something affects your seller level, I personally would get back on the phone with them. It's worth another call and express to them. I have already been on the phone with 2 people who said that they would resolve that and didn't. Someone's going to take it off for you. It doesn't sound like it was something that was intentional. I wouldn't stop until I got that fixed, just because it's going to cost you so much money in the long run. Going into Q4, when your higher fees are really going to matter, that could cost you, let's just say it costs you an extra $100. It's not worth that. It's worth the phone call. Call again.
So I've had a similar situation happened when I first started. I had a return and it was an in-ad, but I didn't necessarily agree with it. And I was new and trying to learn eBay. So I was researching on how to handle that, and eBay timed it out and just refunded. And so it was without seller resolution. I think it was around $92. And I took it as a lesson learned personally. It was a one-time thing. If it was something that I had other negatives on my account, if it was something that happened frequently that was going to affect my seller metrics, then I might have done something about it. But I'm kind of a leave it, move on unless it's directly affecting me. I mean, if we were talking hundreds of dollars, I might have done something different. But for me, my time is better spent relisting items and getting more sales than it is to sit there and argue with eBay or the system.
She just commented it saying that she never received the item, and the question was why eBay paid without notifying me. Who knows why they actually paid without notifying you? That has happened to me twice within the 8 years that I've been reselling. And the first time was initially right when I got the notice myself, and within a second, I got a message saying that this thing has been resolved and the person has been refunded without even a notice of it being sent back or any
That,
issue
I
on
know
it.
that happens when it's INAD. Was it INAD, Sonny?
It was not an INAD.
Oh.
There, I forget what exactly it was, but I know for sure it wasn't an INAD. And when it's the wrong address, because I don't remember the first part of it, when the customer is the one who gave you the wrong address to send their item to them, eBay often sides with you. And even if they side with you and they want a refund and they're not getting it, this also happened to me last year, end of last year. They could still go through their bank and get that refund, even if it's an INAT or anything, and it's not going on your side. But I would contact eBay, like Rachel said, and I'm sure everybody's going to say the same thing because we all do it. When you go and report the issue, it may take several times, and it's good to take a phone call on there, but it's a process just getting through that point to contact eBay. They're going to ask you or have a listing of tabs. What are you wanting to talk to eBay about? Look for the item not received by buyer, or yeah, by the buyer, because there's the different ones where people click for the customer. You're not the customer, you're the buyer, of course. And then it just breaks it down more and more, and you get to select the item that you're talking about, so that way they understand and have that whole history that they're going to be looking at with the messages, not just the tracking to you, to them, and back to you. So it could be a headache, but when your business, regardless of how big or small you are, to all of us individually, our businesses are bigger than anybody else's because it's yours. This is your livelihood for your own goals and reasons. So I would report it. I would contact them again to and bring back what Rachel said a moment ago. And the other question is be polite, tell them what's going on. Try not to get your feelings involved in it. So write out your comment or reply if you have to write a message. Don't just send it right away. Read it, see if it makes sense to you. So that way it's as clear as possible when it is ready to send off. So that way it helps and is not you're just trying to get one point to another point to another point.
I'm wondering if it was an INAD and you didn't say you'd accept it, and then eBay forced the refund, and then the buyer didn't have to ship it back to you. Because if you didn't say anything, they can force the return. But I don't know if they would just, like, if you're not accepting and saying you're willing to pay the shipping, I'm wondering if that's where the forced refund came from. And that would also explain why they would say without seller resolution. So whenever anything like that pops up, you have to respond, either accept it. Well, with an INAD, you have no choice. You have to accept it. But they want you to click accept it. That's like they make you verify your tracking when somebody says they haven't got their item yet. Even though they have the number, they see it, they can see if the person has received it. And a lot of times they have. So that's the only thing I can think of. I would just say pay very, very close attention to any notifications. And like for me, it pops up on my eBay seller overview. It says like return something, and it's like a task that I have to complete. And so that way I know if I see that I have to do something about one of my returns. But I agree with Rachel, because if you're not selling a ton of stuff, that could get your listings suppressed. That could be what's going on. I know like sales have been slow, and they will charge you the extra fees if you're below standard. So I would try and have them call you again and explain it to them, and hopefully they will get it figured out, because you don't want to be punished, especially when you didn't get the item back. You know, that's very, very frustrating.
I remember now what the
All
item
right,
was. It was a hat for a kid, and it said the youth small. And I did get a message from the buyer, and she said that my kid needs a size small hats. This one does not fit their child, and that was the complaint. Other than that, I didn't get anything else. They don't have to notify you. The customer does not have to notify you before filing for anything or putting a claim. They could actually just message eBay before even reporting a claim. So some things are unfair, and sometimes that just helps them get what they want. But for this instance, for me, it was a $7 item that I want to make it a big issue. I'd rather just have them not leave a negative anything on my end, and it didn't affect me on the me not resolving it, like Kat was explaining a moment ago, because you could see that on your seller side of your account, what she's talking about, and everybody should do this every now and then on eBay, is really look inside your seller account, and it gives you diagrams and diagraphs of things where you are allowed certain things before it starts taking effect over on your account.
Yeah, and you got to watch it. Like, we were close, like, you have to have a certain percent, and it's really high, of scanned and shipped on time. And we missed like a couple of Mondays for various reasons, and that almost put me below, and we sell a lot. But we also ship out a lot on Mondays. So, like 40 packages is a big hit to not get scanned on time. And my employee was taking them, and she didn't know like how big of a consequence that was. Like, she would take them, didn't make it to the post office in time because she brings them, but she like brought them home and brought them the next morning and thought it was okay. And I saw my rating and I'm like, what is going on? And I said something to her and figured out that was it. So she didn't know. She had no clue that like taking them the next morning would affect our rating. And I'm like, we could get like no sales if our listings are suppressed. We could be in some hot water. So now we're good, but watch it, especially if you don't sell a lot. It doesn't take many misses to drop you below that percent.
Sometimes
this question that I'm going to put up. Oh, what, huh, Sonny?
Sometimes it's just that one hit that affects you and close your account for a while.
Yeah, if you don't sell a lot, one could put you under. I think we're going to be getting this question throughout the end of this year and the beginning of next. And we got it last week. Scrappy Stamper says, new promoted fees have me concerned. What are your views? Also, do you think the practice off the promotion event? Oop, my internet went out again. I know removing all percent could hurt my store, but are you familiar with the new policy that's going into effect in January?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really feel like this depends so wholeheartedly on what you sell. I sell really weird vintage stuff. I don't have the same competition. Like, I sold a cicada shell once. Who am I competing with? I don't need to promote that. So if you're selling one-off, weird, unique items, why are you promoting in the first place? I'm sorry that you got on the wrong side of YouTube and someone told you to promote everything, but you don't have to promote everything. But what you can't do is just promote. You can't dispromote everything all at one time. And it will tell you firsthand. And I didn't hear that from someone. I did that once upon a time. I thought, I'm done paying for promoted listings. And 2 weeks later, I made another sale. You need to trickle that stuff out you have until now, from now to January, to remove your promoted listings. Can you sell on eBay without promoted listings? Yes, because I'm currently doing it and have been, for a while. Again, it depends on what you sell. And if you are selling something that's common, get something else that's the motivator for someone to pick your listing over someone else's. Have better photos, have better titles, searchability, better SEO, have a better price, make something else a better conditioned item, source better if you don't want to have to pay the promoted listings, because I think that their new policy is garbage. I may find some funny way to present that in a video, because I think that everyone needs to know about that new policy. I think it's trash, and I don't know why anyone would still want to do it. But, if you do, to each their own, everyone resells in their own way. I think that you need to be removing them slowly. Don't do it all at once, and get something else about your listing that you don't have to continue to pay eBay like an extra 2 to 5%.
I have both promoted and not promoted items in my store as well. If it's above an 80% sell-through rate, when I do my research, I don't promote the items. If it's lower than that, then I do choose to promote currently. I am not happy, as any of us are, with the new fee system that's going to be rolling out with promoted ads. I agree, it's garbage, Rachel. um, as far as ending and selling like item, I do that daily anyways. If an item is ending and gonna be what do they call it, when it just goes back up and eBay's gonna relist it at the end, then I go ahead and end it. I haven't really decided yet if I'm going to stop promoting, but if I do, I'm probably just going to tick them down a tenth of a time from what I'm promoting at, because I have heard if you just stop, it's going to just completely drown. So if I'm at 2.2, then when I relist, maybe I'll go to 2.1 and then so forth until I get everything off of promoted.
Yeah, I think January 13th is when the day starts, and then it pretty much takes a month.
Yeah,
But then
I
even
see it
after
there.
that, it's like grandfathered into this promoted ad thingy. So I don't agree with it. I also think it's trash. And there's just always things from eBay that doesn't make sense that they're trying to push. In my opinion, this is hypothetical. I feel like they're trying to weed out certain types of sellers. And with that, there's more than just eBay out there. If it's not working for you and it annoys you and you don't agree with things, there are other platforms. I just said last week and I mentioned today that I thought I was never going back to Whatnot, and I've made pretty much over nearly $1,000 after fees in 2 shows, and that's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I had a blast. I get to talk to my customers. I get to talk to people in the community. Like, there's a lot of pros of why people support you in live auctions time and time again. Yes, I do have a pretty good following and I have amazing people, but it doesn't transfer my YouTube viewers over to Whatnot. I still have to build a whole nother community and be a part of a community that I want to belong to help me grow. And coming back, my 2 shows, I call them comeback shows, I have been doing really good because you want to promote yourself. If you're not comfortable promoting yourself, do what you are comfortable with and still promote yourself. You don't have to show your face. You could wear gloves if you want to. You don't even have to talk. Make it your own way and do what you are happy with and give it a try. One show may not be something that convinces you on Whatnot or any other platform, but as long as you keep trying, you're eventually going to be seen and you will find your crew of people.
So Rachel, don't fall out of your chair. I promote everything at 13%. I had it at 15.
What?
But that's because my sales were down. Yeah, but here's the thing. So say the category rate is 10% and you're selling on Posh. You're paying 20% on Posh. You add 10% promoted on eBay, you're the same fees you have on Poshmark.
You're assuming I sell anything on Poshmark. Like, that happens. Sorry, go ahead.
My Posh sales have been kicking tail. We are like kicking butt on Posh.
I'm happy for you.
20%. So like that's how I look at it. Like, I'm paying 20% on Posh. Like, I'm doing this and like, we're more about quantity. You know, I have 9,000 listings. I promote everything because I don't have the time to go one by one and decide what I'm promoting and what I'm not. I actually just lowered it from 13 to 12 because you guys reminded me, because I've been dropping it 1. I want to get it back to 10, which is what I like, because when our sales were horrible, I upped it to 15. I was like, I'm willing to pay 5% more to get more sales, which we've been having $4,000 to $5,000 weeks right now. So I'm dropping it by 1. And like, I dropped it by 1 back in September. Our sales continued to grow. A lot of my stuff is one-off, but it also, like with the promoted, it'll come up if somebody's searching for something similar and they might not know they need my rare one-off thing, and then they see it. So I'm okay paying it, but I also buy really cheap. And I agree, like, everybody has their own way. I used to do jewelry at 15 to 20% because jewelry's so saturated. And there's all the China sellers and my stuff would never get seen. I don't do it anymore. I sell a lot of jewelry, but I put it in with everything else. But if you buy, like, if I'm buying at 5 to 10% of what I'm selling at, I don't care if I'm giving them 10% more if I'm making $5,000 a week. As far as a policy, it's absolute crap. And And to answer your question, if you in and sell similar, yes, that will get rid of the promoted because it's a brand new listing. So that would be one way to clear your promoted out. My promoted campaign encompasses all my listings, and all new listings are automatically promoted for me. I don't wait. Again, I don't have the time to, like, you know, I'm listing 200 to 300 items a week. I don't have the time to be like, oh, when did I list this? A week ago, let me go promote it. So I just throw it in. If I get it down to 10 and I keep having sales, I'll probably try and keep pushing my luck and dropping it by 1% every month or two just to see what happens, because I don't want to pay any more fees than I have to. But definitely, I learned the hard way, like Rachel too. I cut mine from 10 to 5 and my hand got, they did not like that. So don't cut it in half, go down. But like Ashley was saying, hers is low. So for her, going down like 0.1% makes sense, where dropping down 1% every month or two. I'll see if my impressions and stuff go down, but it just sucks. But yes, copying it and selling some of it, I don't think they will catch on to that. They might. They're so sneaky. That's like charge on the promoted on shipping now, because of people doing penny or 99-cent listings with $60 of shipping. You know, yeah, you can promote that super high. Well, now that you were doing that, you know, all of us have to pay promoted on it. But it's because of somebody doing what they shouldn't do. I thought Kathleen, Kat's clicking happy. Kathleen the Fernway Flipper says, good evening, everyone. Thanks for keeping me company while I list. You are very, very welcome. Let's do, what do I want to do? Oh, the whale. Here you go. Todd said you're the bestie now. And I mean, if I could make 5,000 in sales, and I'm changing up my business model a little bit, and it's hard. I need to make a video about it. I have to make myself not go overboard with the stuff I like. Like, I think it's okay to have some stuff you like to have it, and I'm doing it as much as I'm doing it. Because I would like to be taking up less space. Even though I have it, that doesn't mean I have to fill it all. And I'm trying to pay more. And like right now I have a ton of inventory, so I'm trying to make myself not buy, which is hard because I have a thrifting channel and I go thrifting for that. So I'm going to have to be way more disciplined. I don't walk out without a full cart. I'm going to have to try, because we have so much stuff right now. And then I went and picked up auction stuff on Monday. And then there are 3 giant boxes on my porch right now from another auction. And I'm like, I've got to stop. Got to stop. We're listing 300 items a week, but if I buy 1,000 a week, it doesn't work. I also will start doing a lot more whatnots, I think, and hopefully that will work as well. Rachel, did we have when you were here? Have you seen the Kevin one?
I don't think so.
I don't think she wants to see it.
Here we go.
I have seen that. I think I saw that once when I was watching. I was like, what in the Commonwealth
what just happened?
Poor guy.
Kevin happened. I asked his permission forever ago when we made it.
That was nice.
No big Becky's.
Before I go put his butt on TV. Festive Flipper said, I need to move stale inventory. Should I mark down during a sale but remove promoted that's at 9%? We just talked about that. Whatever you do, don't just cold turkey remove it. Or leave it and do a 30 to 40% off sale. Most of it is saturated clothing.
I would say in the temperature currently around promoted listings, it may be more advantageous of you to split the difference as your second option there, to keep it where it's at and then just do 30 to 40% off, because so many people are spazzing out about promoted right now, and removing those to the competition of promoted may be less. So keep your promoted and do a big sale, or just take it all to Whatnot and sell it all in one show. And then you'll be like, oh, why didn't I do this before? This is great. And then get rid of it.
I agree. I don't know that I would mess with the promoted as much and run yourself a sale. Also, if you're not ending and relisting, I didn't do that for the first year. And when I started doing that on a daily basis, my sales increased significantly. And so I think it just gives fresh eyes on stale listings as well.
Yeah, I would recommend to go to Whatnot for the things people are holding on to that hasn't sold in a while. I'm also saying this: do not start things at $1 if you're not confident you're going to get more than that. I start my items at $3 on Whatnot, and it's been going pretty good. And some things like last night that I've had at my vintage booth, I've had online on several platforms, no offers, nothing, and a handful of jewelry that I've taken the past 2 shows, which I've only had 2 shows recently. I've made several $100s off of them, and I'm like, whoa! And people are wanting jewelry, and you might be thinking, well, why aren't they buying for me? Well, maybe you just got to show people what you have. Because one thing on a platform, say like on eBay, is a listing for eBay people to look at. There are millions of other people that don't want to go through eBay for the situations that we are bringing up and talked about, that has just burnt them so bad that they are over it. Just like family and other reseller friends of mine that are on the flip side of, say, Amazon, that don't want anything to do with Amazon because they've been burnt. And although they need things from there, they'd rather go somewhere else to do it. So people will do that. So I would say with your percentage of things, just baby steps, slowly bring it down until you knock it off. But that's why I only do my promoted listings for so long. And often when I do promoted listings on eBay, it's more of my older items that have been sitting around, not my newer items. And you could easily type in like 50 days, 30 days, or 100 days of items that have been sitting around, and it'll filter those or cache them down to just them, and then highlight all of them and put that on there if you're thinking about promoting that way. So everybody has different ways of doing things. People have things that work for them. You just got to figure out what works for you best that helps you reach your goals.
Yeah, so for me, I currently have a 60% off sale running on eBay. Because of that, I want this stuff gone. And I know I bought cheap enough. I'm still making money on, I would say 95% of that stuff. I might lose on a few items. I didn't pick a ton though, because I hand pick them. Because of ending and selling similar, I can't just go by date. Unfortunately, I have to like actually handpick, and I have the date in the SKU that I listed them. I think I'm getting more picky with what's going on there. Like I've had some clothes that I saw the sell-through rate was crap, and I just put it in a free pile. And it sucks because I had already paid my employee to photograph and list it. And previously, I'm like, no, I paid her, I'm putting it up. Now I'm like, no, we're going to give it away. That's another thing as far as like changing it, because I think all of us are like, we're all going to make mistakes on sourcing at some point. We can't be perfect. You're going to think something's worth more than it is, or you're going to find a stain, or you're going to find a flaw. And like being able to say, okay, I just paid to learn, like I didn't comp that good enough. That's on me. And I don't want to put it out there. That's the biggest thing. And so again, if you really want to move that, like I put mine at 60, I was doing 40% with my promoted, and then I would send them an extra 10, which got it to 50%. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do more. And I bumped it to 60, and I still send them 10% off offers. So I'm doing 70%. But if this is old stuff that you're thinking about pulling and redonating, why not try and get something for it versus getting nothing? That's how I'm looking at it. I'm not planning on pulling and donating anything because that would be more of a pain in the butt, but I will drop those prices down and just try and get something back, and then I can buy better inventory. But again, I'm trying to factor in Whatnot or knickknacks as far as live selling too, to like where it's stuff that it's worth $20. I paid $2. Am I okay starting it at $3? And other people get good inventory too. So that hopefully we'll be able to figure out, I hope. But yeah, so I would do both. So Gila, I see you ask, can you do bulk depromoting? You can, but again, do not just turn it off, or you will get your hand slapped. So if you're at 5%, drop it down to 4, and then a month later, drop it down to 3. But it's just under the bulk edit feature. Promotions is one of them, unless you have a campaign. I have a campaign that has all of them. So like I just went and edited that down a percent. And you guys asked the question. That's when I did it last time too. Somebody always asked the question. I'm like, oh, I need to turn it down a little bit. But don't turn them all off at the same time. All right. Cindy wants to know, how do you choose which words to capitalize in your titles, and does it even matter?
I just type good grammar, I guess, like good English. I capitalize every word because I think it looks silly if a title doesn't have every word capitalized, but I don't scream at people in caps either. I don't think anything needs a caps lock on it. Honestly, the same as you would write a book title or anything. I do appreciate a title in every word. I don't know that eBay cares. I don't know that any SEO is case sensitive, but I think it makes you look more professional if you just capitalize every word. Don't use emojis either, please, for the love of God. Don't use emojis.
Agreed on the emojis. I do capitalize the first letter of every word in my titles as well. I do not capitalize any word as a whole. I don't think that when people are searching for specific items in the title, they're not searching for capitalized. It's not going to make a difference as far as eBay or bringing it up larger in your search item. I think that you use good keywords and good listings, and that's all you need.
I have a habit of capitalizing every first letter of every word. There's something about a whole word being capitalized. I feel like I get triggered. It's like yelling. In a way, it sounds silly, but I'm like, oh, not looking at that if I see a listing. But Kat told me she's trying something new where she capitalized every last letter of the word. So we're gonna see how that works for her.
Sure. That would mess me up.
Maybe you could make money on the video even if your items didn't sell.
I have some that have caps because from when I did Sell Similar and I just left what people had, like they might have a couple. Etsy will not let you capitalize more than 2 whole words. They will reject your title on Etsy if you have more than 2 words in all caps. I also capitalize the first, but I don't capitalize like and or, like the little words. I don't capitalize the first letter of that. But everything else I do
too.
And I don't know if it matters. Somebody said once that like all caps like didn't help you, like it could hurt you in the search algorithm. And I feel like all caps too would go out more so people couldn't see your title if they were scrolling on a phone. Oh, I do that. Thank you, Susan. I do capitalize read. If there is a flaw, read is in all capital letters, just like she wrote. I do that. Or we'll put C. If I only have 3 letters instead of 4, I put C instead of read. But I do capitalize that.
Can I ask y'all something? Do y'all do the same thing in your descriptions?
Yeah, I write like
capitalize the first letter.
No, I write like as if I'm writing a book. Just
the rare times that I do actually write a description, because it's far and few between, I will capitalize the first letters.
AI writes my descriptions. So whatever.
I honestly put a period in my description 9 times out of 10 and move on.
Yeah, I used to just copy my title until I started using AI to make my listings, and I like it because it's bullet pointed. But I don't. I might capitalize like the flaw, like the whole thing. Like she's saying she capitalizes read. So like if there is a vase with a chip in it, I might capitalize that whole statement that there's a chip in it. So like, hello. And I have sent screenshots to people who didn't read and said, hey, look, it's in all capital letters. Only if I'm in a bad mood that day.
If there's a flaw, that's when I write a description.
Yeah, that's when you definitely need to.
Mm-hmm.
Dragonfly Treasures wants to know, how does one verify stone's authenticity? Specifically for me, turquoise. There's a lot of fake. Do I call it faux turquoise, or is there an easy way to verify?
If it were me personally, and I had a ton of turquoise, I graduated from YouTube University, and I've learned that anything that you want to know, I mean, these people up here might be able to give you, a difference in howlite and turquoise tonight, but I'm telling you, 3 videos in, you will be a turquoise expert. If there's any one thing that you need to be, you don't have to be an expert for long, just long enough to list that crap and get it sold. I personally would Google that and watch every YouTube video about how to verify it. And I'm going to say Kat knows a lot more about turquoise than I do. So I'll defer to these other experts.
I agree with YouTube University. 9 times out of 10, everything that I list, I end up watching YouTube for a while until I become a somewhat expert in that area. Turquoise is not something that I've ever dealt with, so I'm going to pass on as far as that goes.
I am not an expert in stones, and hopefully never will be an expert in golf stones. But my neighbor one day, I have talked to him. This guy travels around the world. His family is probably the source to learn about turquoise. But because he travels all over the world, it's hard to actually get a hold of him. They used to have a series running, I think, on the History Channel or something like that, or Discovery Channel. So that's how well they are. They literally have turquoise sitting on their property and sell hundreds of thousands to Japan, which is their biggest customer base anywhere in the world. So I am trying to see about one day seeing if he said he would teach me. And then later on, I'm like, well, I'm trying to just break in a little bit, ease in to have him one day record and show me to record to show others what real turquoise, like what to look for. Because online, I see this on every platform. People come up and say it's turquoise and they'll advertise it. Then all of a sudden they're saying, I think it's turquoise. So I'm going to sell it as a stone. And they're being tricky with words, in my opinion. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to discredit, again, your hard work. If you are unsure, do not run it like turquoise. Do not claim for it to say one thing and then all of a sudden you're backpedaling. It's not worth it. And you just look bad on the end, especially to other resellers. You make other people look bad. And I am big on that. I advocate for that we are more than just for ourselves. We are a reflection of the community, although not everybody's, it's in our circle and your circle may be different, but really take pride in your stuff. Look at stones, go to a nearby place, almost any fairly decent sized community in a town or city has somebody who knows stones, and see if they could just offer you some free information, or if they'll give you a class about it, and that way you could get that experience. Because it's one thing for anybody that could see colors compared to myself. I am colorblind, so I won't be able to see certain things that you may see who could see colors.
Yeah, so I actually pulled it up, and I'll tell you guys, the majority of my stuff, especially, I was looking over because I've shown this so many times. This is a $2,000 cuff. So the place where I get the majority, the majority of my turquoise, they test it. And they get tons of Native American. They are super familiar with turquoise, and they will put the variety it is. Everybody's like, how do I know? I don't know. I do it when I have somebody who is very, very versed in it that does it. And this auction sells individual pieces. I don't get the stuff in lots. I'm paying by the piece. So I know what kind of turquoise it is. But when I looked up if you can test for it, so a simple test is acetone nail polish remover. If you rub it on and turquoise comes off, you know that's a fake stone. So that's an easy with nail polish remover. And the second one is a hot needle. If you heat it up and it melts, that's not a real stone either. So I mean, 2 easy tests. I can tell a lot, like howlite is dyed turquoise a lot. That's the most common, like faux turquoise is howlite, and howlite is typically white. So that is one that with the acetone it would come off. But I would say the more you handle it and the more you get, like I can tell probably 90% what I'm looking at because I've sold so much of it. And but there's no like presidium for turquoise. It's just, it says they're like, you can scratch test. So it's saying real turquoise is harder than howlite and you can't scratch it with a knife or a nickel. But I mean, your howlite piece might still be worth something. And do you want to really scratch it off? I don't know. Like, so that's why the hot needle test somewhere inconspicuous, but you're going to mess up that piece probably with the acetone too. So I would just think about that.
There's also different colors of turquoise. A lot of times we think of
a lot of different turquoise.
Blue, but Kat mentioned if you use acetone and it turns white, or it may turn white. There's a white buffalo turquoise out there that looks like a marble. So sometimes, who knows, maybe somebody thinks, because people do crazy stuff, would color it thinking it's turquoise, that's what I was told, and do some crazy stuff with it, clean it off, and it's still turquoise. So best thing to do if you don't know is what I'm going to do when I come across some turquoise, just like this little one that I was showing. It's just a little piece. Person said that it's turquoise on silver. It's old Taxco Mexican silver little charm on here. So I'm going to see if my neighbor, when he gets home sometime this year, hopefully, and can show me and hopefully show y'all.
And I think a lot in the jewelry groups too, to be honest, the people that are well versed in it will be able to tell you by a photo. So you could post a photo in one of these jewelry groups as well, and that would get you some help also. This is a fun question. What's the biggest challenge facing resellers in 2026?
This same thing that's always the biggest challenge, self-sabotage. That's what I'm going to say, because you can gather up all of the advice on YouTube and you can listen to everybody. If you don't apply it, your business will stay where it's at. But there is no ceiling. This business, for me, in the decade I have been reselling, has always, the only limit is the ones that I place on myself. So knowing that I'm my only limit, that tells me I'm also my biggest challenge. So hold yourself accountable in 2026. Look back at what you did right in 2025. Look back at what you did wrong and the goals that you did not hit. And understand that it can be different. And if that means staying up until 2 a.m. and listing 50 items a day, then get your butt in gear, because accountability means reminding yourself of the person you said you wanted to be. So who's the reseller that you want to be? That's your biggest challenge, is just get out of your own way.
I think that the ability to change is one of the biggest factors for resellers coming into 2026. Thrifting is not the same inside of, our stores that we used to go to. Prices are increasing. Having to learn to work with AI, learning to work with the internet, finding new ways to source and bring inventory into your business and keep your business flowing, and being willing to make those changes as opposed to just giving up or crying that it's not working for you, and keeping that motivation and making those changes to make your business happen.
Yeah, an answer for the masses, I couldn't tell you, because everybody has different lifestyles and obstacles. I will tell you, for me, my biggest obstacle is one I started facing, and this is going to be some good news to share too. So our son came at 24 weeks, 1 pound, 10.5 inches in length, September 5th at 8:10, and his name is Mateo Raiden. Love that name. And he already had 4 surgeries, one of them a heart surgery, and then another surgery coming to reverse a surgery with an ostomy bag. And it's very heavy and hard. And if I was to depend solely on reselling, I don't think I would have been able to do that, with me being at the hospital every day since September 3rd. He came the 5th, but I've been at the hospital every day, at least like 8 hours or more. And I think the biggest obstacle somebody should look at, say your life's going good everything is okay and you're making sales. But what happens if you get dinged on eBay? Say it's on your only platform, whatever you're selling on, and they say, hey, this person is claiming you did this and you didn't favor them. We're going to suspend you for a week. How would you get by on that? Which is why I am saying I am going back to Whatnot. And the biggest things I think a challenge resellers face that I've been seeing myself and witnessing is people saying, I'm never going to go to a full-time job again when the reselling life isn't working. What are you going to do then? Prove to people that really want you to succeed that you're not going to go back to something that was working, and you have to take a step back, but still you're moving forward to get back to, say, reselling full time. So life happens is what I'm saying. And I'm very fortunate that I've been able to learn this past 8 years and ongoing. I'm a student of reselling and also the communities, not only locally, but online on all the platforms of trying to be a better person, trying to be a better husband, and now just be the best dad I possibly can for when our son comes home. And it probably won't be until the end of December, hopefully sooner, but that's what we're told because he still has some things that he's working on. So the biggest obstacles, again, for us are different in so many different ways. And sometimes it's not as severe for some. It could be like somebody just gave you a bad feedback and you dwell on it and you're just holding on to this frustration. Learn to forgive yourself, as in making yourself feel bad, and just say, I got other things important to do, and roll with it. And believe me, when you start seeing your goals, say reselling the numbers, my goal is $1,000, say this month, and you start getting there faster, then you're like, hey, next month I could double that, and try to keep a goal and a standard. Don't try to settle like, well, last week I already made 1,000 and I still got the rest of the whole month. I'm just going to take it easy. Don't take it easy. Just keep running and stride as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to agree with Rachel. Like, we're our biggest problem. And like LaDonna just said, you have to adapt as needed. 100%. And I agree with Sonny. Like, you have to have different ways to do it. And I definitely, like, I could go to the flea market. I would if I had to. I would do whatever I had to do to not work for somebody else before. But I'm not like that big of a dum-dum that I wouldn't do it if I was going to lose my house or something. I'd be like, okay, I got to go back to work. I would do it. But like, for me, like, I think full-time resellers, especially if you're parents, like time management, organization are just like hard. I talked about the other, like, I've been doing this almost 4 years. I still haven't figured it out. I'm hoping I will one day, but I just keep adapting as I go and do the best that I can. And I think that a lot of times we get in our own way. Like, it drives me crazy. And I think anybody that watches me knows, like, if you tell me you can't find inventory, I'm going to tell you you're not not trying, because I get 90% of my inventory shipped to my house, and any one of you could do exactly what I'm doing and not leave your house. And 90% of my high dollar items are coming from online. They're not coming from me going to thrift stores. So like all the complaints of thrift store prices being up and all of this other stuff, I'm like, no, like, it's, to me, it's an excuse. That's all it is. If you want to do this and you want to succeed, I believe that you can. And if, like, for me, that's me getting out of my own way, like telling you guys I want to buy all this stuff that I like and I know I shouldn't. And I have to make myself not, because that's money that I could be buying better inventory with, even though I like the stuff. So I'm having to like pump the brakes with that and literally make myself like, do not bid on that. Like, you do not need that. That is not good. No. Like a 5-year-old. But you know, if I want items to sell faster, then I need to stop. I'm still going to do some. I'm not going to lie, because I don't want to not like the stuff I'm selling. I'm still going to do some, but I think just not big lots. Where I have like 500 of something, which I seem to like to do. But yeah, time management is hard. I think there's a way to overcome it. Like, and it's hard, you know, because you need money to make money, but there's like free list, especially if you're in a friggin' city, like you can get free stuff. You could go out on trash day and pick stuff from the curb. I used to pick moss off the trees to sell it when I didn't have a ton of money. Like there is a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. I truly believe that. Or like I know some resellers that DoorDash or Uber Eats. Like there are just so many ways to make money that I think if you really want to work for yourself, you can.
You remind me of the turtles trash picking. I was talking about a little brooch turtle that I sold, a 925 silver turtle. It was from another reseller friend who, when I was leaving his garage sale, had a little box of turtles, and it had 3 Riconada Artesania figurines, including that little silver turtle. I paid $40. He made money. That's what he asked for. The turtle got me within the profits, the silver one, and then I still have the other ones, which are like $40 minimum each, and then other stone agate types of turtles. So there is money that people can make. Some people want top dollars. Some people want a little bit of dollars to help them just keep things. I call it greasing the wheel or feeding the beast. You're not going to make, like, it would be awesome if we could have $1 million fines, right? And it was life changing. But I'm pretty sure if that happened, probably 75% of the same people or insane people would be like me, where you're not going to stop reselling. You find out one item, it got you hooked, and you're going to keep trying to find more stuff.
You're going to find another one.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever stop, even if I was a millionaire.
Yeah, and I mean, I absolutely love what I'm doing. And yeah, we all want to be that article, $50,000 painting found at Goodwill, but most of us are not going to be. But I think if you learn and if you have to have self-discipline to not pick up the stuff that isn't good, even though you like it. So that's why, like, self-discipline and organization, I think, are big things. Miss Linda sent a $5 super chat and said, "Thank you, Rachel, for your purse restoration videos. I've learned a lot."
Thank you
And
for watching
she
them.
said, "Hey, Ashley from another Okie, what have I not done?" Dun, da, da, da. I'm gonna do the original one. This one's from 5 years ago. Here you go. Super chat. The OG super chat when there was only one of them. And then Sarah, who was on with us last week, if you missed that episode, definitely check it out. Sarah Sells Smalls was on with us, sent a $10 super chat and said, "For Sonny, Carla, and their beautiful little one, and still being with us here tonight. Such strength, and thank you for sharing with us." See, now we're going to have a baby super chat soon. We got to have a baby super chat once he comes home. Then we got to have a baby.
Soon enough.
Soon. Dalton was in for 2 weeks, and then I told Sonny, I shared with Sonny, my nephew and his wife had a little boy that was a pound when he was born. At the same time, I had Dalton. They were NICU neighbors. They ended up moving because they were, like, technically their family. They were, like, super close to each other. And he is thriving with, like, no issues, and he was born at a pound. So, and that was 6 years ago. So I can imagine the technology that they've, like, gained in 6 years has to be incredible. And, like, what these NICUs do is absolutely amazing. Those NICU I could not do it. I just, like, they're so teeny. I couldn't do kids either. Like, I am not a kid nurse. I just am not. I don't have the emotional strength to do that. It's just, it takes a special person to be a NICU nurse and peds nurses. So, like, props to those that do it, because they're absolutely amazing. Like, I still remember, like, Dalton's first bath, and Dalton had to go for an MRI at 2 days old. It's stressful, super stressful. But the technology is amazing. So I don't have a baby super chat. Now I got to figure out what to give you. I'm going to give you the eagle, because I think that's. Roasting walnuts. What are we talking about in the chat? What did I miss? I'll like catch pieces of the chat and I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, like finding things that you don't have to pay for, picking up walnuts.
There is so, you know what else? And I haven't done this, but I might. But the ashes from my fireplace are all from oak.
Thank God. I thought you were going to say something else.
You can sell oak ashes. Go
serious?
look on eBay. Yeah. Because people use it for fertilizer.
People are about to start buying pine cones for crafts. I mean, that's free on the side of the road.
I have sold pine cones. Mm-hmm.
Moss. What else? Oh, Licton moss, like the little reindeer moss. People use it for their train stations for Christmas. There's free stuff. I did a video. It's been probably 4.5 years on free stuff that you like. If you think about, like, we have Spanish moss here in Florida everywhere. People pay for that at the craft store. I bet almost everywhere there's something that is everywhere that is really common for you that other parts of the country will pay for.
Yeah.
That you can get for free. Like if somebody came and asked me if they could pick pine cones off of my 5 acres of pines, I'd be like, sure, go ahead. I don't care. So yeah. All right. Miss Karen says, where do you change the amount to pay for promoted? It is under, hold on. Advertising, the advertising dashboard or campaigns, or if you don't have a campaign, you can bulk edit and adjust it up or down. All right.
Excuse me.
Kelly wants to know, does anyone have a good system for organizing and storing magazines and ephemera to locate them easily? I'm being very challenged to come up with a system that works as they need to stay flat.
I once listed over 100, maybe it was a couple hundred found photos, because I really like to list photos. You can get almost $10 for a very average black and white photo if you don't know. But then I had a stack of photos. Like I want to look through 150 every time something sells. So you know those they're semi-translucent Post-it tabs. They're made to where they're not so sticky they're going to damage a paper, because they're actually made to put into textbooks to tab your pages. On the back of each photo, I put one of those tabs and I numbered them. So they stayed in numerical order. And then that was my SKU on my eBay listing. And I even put in the title. So it would say like found photo, child in playpen Christmas morning, or whatever my title was. And then it would say -16. So I didn't even have to go into the SKU whenever I sold it. So with your magazines or whatever, just put dash in whatever your number is, and then you have them in a stack because they are going to lay flat. Or if you want to have them in a filing cabinet, that tabby is right on there. And that was my best inventory for flat ephemera.
I sell quite a few cross-stitch patterns and magazines both. And I personally use 3-ring binders. And I have the clear little slots that I put them in. And I number each one of those on the outside, the clear plastic part, just 1 through 20. So I have like a green binder for my cross-stitch patterns, you know, and I put them all there. And then I have a blue binder for my magazine. So my SKU, I just have to write green 1, green 2, or blue 3. And so I keep all mine in 3-ring binders and keep them laying flat.
I have no solid advice for you, because if I was gonna, I do come across ephemera and magazines. I just take them over to Whatnot, stack them up, show you what I got, and I let you bid on them. That's as far as like my organizing with how I pick. If I get a lot of ephemera, I know I could sell it, but I'm not going to take the time to have it as like a static listing for me.
Yeah, and I used to do a lot of ephemera, and I would just have it flat in drawers, and we would have to look through 50 to 100 to find it, and it was for like a $6 item. So I do not do that anymore. I'm not kidding. They're still there. There's still some there. They haven't sold. But we were listing like 600 of them. But yeah, listen, we're talking about tumbleweeds in the chat. My tumbleweed was in the city of Vegas too, and it just like went shoop right by me. Yeah, mine was too, and right in like downtown Las Vegas. I don't know how it got there either. But yeah, so my system obviously wouldn't work. I have also, though, the ephemera that I have got, I have taken it to Whatnot as well. Like I love doing the Victorian trading cards, and most of the time when I buy them in the notebooks like Ashley was talking about. So I guess I could list them and leave them in the notebooks, but they're so low cost. I don't want to list them, but I'm okay doing them on Whatnot. I just got a notebook with early 1900s to mid 1900s, all Native American postcards. It is so cool. And I paid up, and I'm going to do those over on Whatnot. You want to come tell everybody good night? Dalton's coming to say good night.
Good night.
Night,
Hi,
Dalton.
Good night.
Sweet dreams.
All
He's
right.
getting
I
so
love you.
big from the last time I seen him.
I know. He is growing for sure. So
His
yeah,
hair is
so
awesome.
I'm not good at how to do that. I obviously, because the time it was taking me, I was losing money because I was digging through 50 or 100 of them to find the right one. So yeah. Oh, alphabetical order is another, like, that's a decent idea if you had a box where you could, you know, figure out the title if it was a pamphlet or a brochure. That would be, but it depend on, like, if it's just a piece of ephemera that you don't know what to call it without a title, that'd make it kind of hard. All right. Sonny, speaking of power, that's who I was talking with about the tumbleweed. Power Corrupts said visiting Las Vegas in February, 13-year-old wants to see Omega Mart. Any advice?
They give you a map to follow things to get. I made no sense of it. I could not follow the little group that I was with, family and friends, to where I just wandered off. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. It happens to mostly everybody. Like, how did I go from a grocery store to now seeing these crazy cool sculptures and lights in this hidden room? And you're going to have a lot of fun. There is a lot of things in the Omega Mart in that same facility. So I would say don't plan anything right away, because we were there for hours just chilling, taking photos. You can't buy anything there like the groceries. It looks like you can. It's a lot of confusion and a lot of fun. You'll see.
Buddy's here.
Good night, buddy.
Buddy. So Brooke just said, so I got a golden retriever blow mold from an auction. Come here, buddy. So Buddy thinks the blow mold is a real dog. It's outside of the shed. So she said he thinks that it's a real dog.
That's cute.
We just 2 days ago was a year that we've had him. I got him as a 6-week-old puppy in a box at the flea market.
He's
Hi,
so
Brooke.
cute.
Hey, Sonny.
But yeah, I was gonna go to Omega Mart and we never made it when we were in Vegas. Rod was telling me to go and bring Dalton, and we never got to make it. But he wants to go see. He wants to go see the other dog. He's at the door. He wants to go back outside. I have the blow mold like right outside the shed.
He has a new friend.
And I was worried that Brooke was gonna like have a fit for me to keep it, but she hasn't said anything. And it's the most valuable one, of course, the golden retriever blow mold. All right. So he sent a $9.99. I need a Buddy super chat too. Gino, are you here? I need all these super chats. All right. He's still, I hear her out there. She's like, Buddy, it's not a real dog. So he won't leave that dog alone. What have I not done? Oh, here's Dalton's little baby riding a dolphin. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I just sold a golden retriever pillow this week too. Now, because we have 2 Goldens. We have a 5-year-old and then Buddy's a year. And so every golden retriever thing I see, like my eyes like are drawn to it just because we have Goldens, and golden retriever stuff sells very well. A lot of dog stuff sells very, very well.
I did the same thing with poodle items. They do sell well.
Oh yeah, poodles. I have poodles, salt and pepper shakers.
It's Biro.
Oh. My mom raised toy poodles when I was growing up. We had like the little poodles. Yeah.
Yeah, he's small, and then I have a standard at home as well.
I want a golden doodle, but somebody told me they have a lot of health problems, so I don't know. That might be my next one, but I don't need a next one yet. So Hila wants to know, Rachel, you're selling brand name bags. She's assuming they're pricey. So what do you do to prevent any harm to them or worry about like bad buyers? You're mainly selling though on Whatnot, right? Which is probably a little safer fraud and scam wise than eBay, I would think.
I feel like it. I mean, I list a few over on eBay, and that's probably where I'll put Gucci until I have enough to do an entire show. Because on Whatnot, you have mid-tier luxury, which is like Coach Kate Spade, Michael Kors, even DKNY, things like that. And then as you go up to Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, things like that, you actually have to be ungated on Whatnot to sell luxury purses. I am ungated. I just don't have enough to really do an entire show. So those may go on my eBay. I will tell you that in over a decade of reselling, I've come across very few, praise God, very few scammy buyers. I think that I don't know, the fear of that happening almost again, just it's self-sabotage. It just gets in your way of the money you could be making selling luxury bags or selling Coach, or I just don't think it happens as often as resellers are concerned about. Just the same as the seller scamming someone doesn't happen as often as some buyers are worried about. Oh, I don't want to shop on eBay. I'm going to get scammed. And we all know there's plenty of really legitimate sellers on eBay. There are also a lot of really legitimate buyers. I one time ever had a luxury item. It was a Gucci belt that was purchased on Poshmark. I sold it for $300, and the buyer opened a case and said that it was inauthentic. And I take really great photos. I authenticate items. I have videos showing you how to authenticate items. So I knew I knew where the serial code was. I knew everything that I needed to back up my case about this being authentic. I presented it to Poshmark and it was cited in my favor. And they did not get their refund. So I would say back up your authenticity, back up your condition. Those would be the two things that you could get scammed on. If someone says the item is inauthentic or it wasn't in the condition that you detailed it to be in. I don't go to the extent of videoing while you're boxing up an item. That's not going to hold up anywhere. In my opinion, I don't think that eBay's going to look at that and say, well, here's a video of Rachel putting it in the box. That could be anything, because suppose you were a scammy seller. Just trust that it's not going to happen, I guess. Don't manifest that into your life. And know what to look for, so you have photo documentation that what you sold was authentic. But know that what you're selling is authentic, because there are a lot of fakes out there and you don't want to be the scammy seller.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like, and a lot of it comes like with YouTube and stuff like that. Everybody, that's what gets the attention, right? Is the negatives. So I think that's why people feel like the scamming is way higher than it actually is, because like us as content creators, like if I get scammed, yeah, that's going to be the title of a video because everybody wants to see it. Yeah. I'm not going to like make something up. I think I've had like one or two really over 5 years. It really doesn't happen that often. Like I had the thing with the shirt, but that was a $10 shirt. Like, I don't care. You know, stuff like that. And the same, so the buyers as well as the sellers, like Rachel said, there are bad sellers out there too. And buyers are seeing those videos and thinking that all of us are bad. And, you know, it's just if you worry about all the what ifs, I feel like you're never going to progress and grow your business. You know, if you worry about all the negatives, it's just not going to really, you're not going to get anywhere. That's like the Vero list, same thing. Don't read it. It'll scare the hell out of you. I mean, because it's ridiculous. But if you go into each brand, they each have like a small thing, like you can't sell it as new because the warranty doesn't transfer, but you can sell it as used, you know? So like, you can't just see a name on the Vero list and assume you can't sell it. You have to actually go into that brand's rules, read it, and then you can see that most of it you can sell. But again, people want to, I got Vero'd. And they also will not penalize you the first time. They warn you. So you have a warning. They're not going to just all of a sudden slap you. You're gonna know, and it's when you ignore that, it's when you get in trouble. So here's a big question, and I think I know 3 of us are selling on Whatnot. Tina's asking, are you making a profit on Whatnot? Saying, I don't want to sell items for $1 to $5.
I am not interested in selling $1 to $5 items on Whatnot or on eBay. So here's the thing. You wouldn't list on eBay for $1 because you wouldn't want to sell it for $1. Don't do that on Whatnot either. My purse shows, most of my bags start at $49. I started a purse the other day at $199 because I don't want to sell it for less than that. If it sits on my shelf, that's fine. It sold the first show. If I get one bid on it, that's fine. If more than one person bids, that's even better. You don't have to list it as a buy it now. What I do is, suppose this bag right here, I'd like to have $50 for that. I'm going to list it at $49 because that looks better. I'm going to offer it in the show. I talk up the bags. I go through everything that's right about them, everything that's wrong about them, all the selling features. And then I activate the auction. If it gets one bid, that is fantastic. I didn't have to, I'm selling probably 5 bags to the same buyer that night because now they've opened up discounted shipping also. So you have to think in terms of bulk. But there's not a single thing on these shelves behind me. There may be 1 or 2 items, scarves that I start at $5. None of this stuff is starting at $1 or $5. Yes, I absolutely make profit on Whatnot. It was my biggest $10.99 last year. So I anticipate it's going to be this year as well. And it's just awesome because I can sell 50 items in a night and I'm not selling 50 items in a night on eBay.
I do not sell on Whatnot, so I'm going to pass.
I sell things starting at $3. That is like my new kind of, I guess, thing that I'm starting. I don't know how to put it in words, but it's working because I'm selling things on average, like the low selling things are selling for a little over $8. So I'm getting around $8 back, right? And these are selling an average of 30. Yesterday was 33. Again, I made over $400 in an hour and 20 minutes take home, pretty much $400. You get tips on Whatnot. So I am going to be talking about Whatnot. I got like $30 in tips. So I'm not even counting that. And what I said earlier was price things where you're going to be happy at what they sell for, right? That's what you're doing. You sell where you want to have that amount. If it's $10, put it at $10 if you know it's 20. If you know it's 20 and you want 20, put it at 20. And Rachel brought up a solid point. I'm not selling either 50 items on eBay in one day, especially not in an hour and 20 minutes. And for me, I get to have there's perks to both. I could have something a static listing, not worry about it, or I could be in person on Whatnot selling myself and my items to people and building a customer base, and it's only going to grow and grow and grow till Mateo comes home or times eases up on me to where I can now have, say, 2 hours. But I'm only doing that as I'm growing and pushing it a little longer, a little bit more, working on my own time, running the business my way that I'm finding works better and better every time. But it's understanding your business. It's not just saying, I'm going to go on there for an hour. You got to understand what's working. Rachel also brought up earlier on a different question. Understand what you're doing. Do what works and tweak the things that aren't. Don't just let go of the things that aren't working. Try to understand why things aren't working.
Yeah, so for me, I used to do dollar starts and then I did 2. Now my minimum is 3 just because of fees and packing. But the majority of times it's gonna, like Rachel was saying, she'll sell 5 bags to somebody. A lot of times, like I think last time we sold 50 items and we had 10 buyers. So it was only 10 packages for the 50 items. And for me with Whatnot, that allows me to buy these big jewelry lots and find those pieces that are in there that are worth $50, $100. I pull them out. I leave everything else. Like if it's worth $30, $35, I'll start it at 3 so people can get inventory from me because I'm going to make my money from the 2 items I pulled out of 50 or 100. And then I get to show cool stuff and sell it for cheap. And that's what I like doing. And I have my house clear outs. I have so many knickknacks and trinkets, and I really need to figure out and start doing that as well because I've had this stuff for months. But I'm going to do the same thing, $3. And I mean, there's some cool stuff. The hard thing for that I might end up I don't know how long that will last, is there's bigger breakable stuff. So we are going to be putting more time into shipping. That's kind of just trusting that I'll have 2 buyers and it won't end at 3. But if it does, that's what I sell. I'm fast. If you have never watched me on Whatnot, I am fast. I can do 100 items in under 2 hours. I can talk, I can chat, I can keep up with the chat and still sell 100 items in 2 hours. I'm like, here it is, go, 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 go. And like, we just go. It's not as fast when I'm doing, like choice is harder because sometimes the buyers will take a little bit longer to tell me like which one of the items they want. So I think like when I do the collectibles, I will probably do like, tell me if you want me to run something. So I know I have one bidder. I'll do, like I was saying earlier, take a picture and I'll just run it. But what I find out is if some of that higher dollar stuff goes for $3, a lot of times that's the buyer that's bought the most from me. And I'm happy to give them like a really good deal. And we're packing multiple items too. So it's not like, you know, multiple packages of breakables. Most of the time it's just a handful of people that are buying multiple things because they have that discounted shipping in there. But I would say like for me, if I'm starting stuff at $1 and it's stuff that I essentially have already made money on, you get, I want to say it's like 40 to 50 cents an item. So that's like $25 an hour, but it's going to go down, down, down. And yeah, I don't do under 3 now though. 3 is my minimum. Like I'll put $3 items together and run them for 3, but I'm not going to run for $1 just because of the fees and you end up with essentially nothing. I will tell you though, in 2022 and 2023, I sold over $250,000 on Whatnot each of those years. In 2023, I was losing money at the end of the year. And that's why I stopped Whatnot 2 years ago. Because I was spending so much buying good sterling inventory. I can't get sterling cheap. Melt people will buy it from me. And I would start it at 3 or at 5 and I had to pay 7 or 10. I was spending thousands to lose money. And that's why I stopped. And that's where you got to really look at it because I feel like if you start with the inventory, like Rachel has her purses, but she has a source and she's sourcing them. Rachel has to know that she can keep sourcing those purses. Like for me with sterling, I can't always get the cheaper sterling. So I kind of hesitate to do sterling shows because I can't always get that at the price point. And I feel like I've started it so low for so long. I don't know what the reaction would be if I all of a sudden come on and I'm like, oh, this is 20, like we're starting at 20. I have done higher end pieces that I show, like I don't run them. I'm like, hey, this is a $50 start. I've sold $300 pieces on Whatnot that I show, say, hey, this is what I got to start it at. If anybody wants it, you know, here it is. And that's like a mental thing for me though. Like Rachel starting all of them higher. That's just me thinking nobody's going to do it, but that might not be the case. You know, I haven't really tried it, but my time's so limited. I think I'm scared to try it that it won't work. Like that I'll run $20 items. I won't get the bids. And now I just wasted 2 hours that I could have been listing on eBay. So that I think is kind of my hold up on that. Fun Junk Stuff says, when a buyer has a legit issue after the sale and you want to refund them, is it best to cancel the order or refund buyer? Either way, they get refunded. So what do you think is the best?
If you choose refund buyer, then it's also going to show up and you'll have evidence of it on your refunded orders. Like, I don't know, depending on how you do your taxes, because eBay does provide you a 1099 and then they provide a breakdown of the orders that were refunded, your shipping fees, your this fees, your that fees. So that's good for accounting. I honestly have never chose cancel order to refund. I didn't even know that you could do that once you've already shipped the item. But then if you cancel the order, then you're going to have to choose that it was either out of stock, which would be your fault, which would be a defect on you, or you're going to have to choose like the buyer asked to cancel, which is false, and you could end up getting in trouble for that. I mean, just follow the rules and click refund buyer. I think that would be less of a defect on you because it's a seller resolution. You're offering to resolve the problem. eBay, they're not naive to the fact that errors do happen and you're going to have to refund people every once in a while. So just choose refund buyer and play the game the way it was supposed to be played.
I agree. The only time I will choose cancel order is if it was directly requested by the buyer, because then it will not give me a ding on my account. If you choose any other reason for canceling the order, it can ding your account and look bad in your metrics. And so therefore, I would always just refund the buyer unless they ask directly for a refund or a
Totally
cancellation.
agree.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. If you're going to cancel, make sure it's clear on their end that they're requesting you cancel. Because sometimes people are very tricky. There's some people out there that I've had in the past, probably 2 or 3 years ago, where it sounded like they wanted to cancel, and I wasn't even confident that they were saying it, but it sounded fishy. So I replied back saying, "So you are wanting me to cancel this order?" And they wrote back something else, and they didn't answer it until I asked again. They're like, "Yeah, I'll cancel it." So do that. But what Rachel said too, yeah, refund them. If they're asking for a refund and it works, and you just find like that resolves it easy, and you still have the item, there's not going to be no other issues with that. Then do what's best for you and also for the customer, because some of these people will look like, you'll notice these names are repeat buyers, and it might be one. I know that because I look at like my orders and it'll show a repeat buyer, especially when I send out coupons for certain things like apparel with jeans, because I have several jeans people that like to buy certain types of sizes, regardless of what the brand is, that they repeat buy. So if I want to hold on to those people, and I want to make sure I'm kind of looking more into like their account. Have I dealt with them before? What am I looking at? Do they sound familiar? So I do look at their accounts as well to see if they have a history of things or patterns, if I'm going to be getting like in more hot water with them, or is this going to be an easy thing? But it usually works out pretty good. The biggest times I've ever had issues was with low value items like the $7 kids hat. I've never really had issues with high value items, but one, which was last year, and kind of scarred from it. So we're going to move on.
Yeah, I always do refund buyer because they can see you already shipped it. You can't like cancel an order after you already shipped it. But I will I'll either I use that for shipping discounts when I do my, bulk shipping. And I will put other. I don't put like item defective or item damaged. I'm just too worried about that. So I always just choose other. And then I just refund them under that blanket reason. But I don't have any problem if it's legit. I'm not gonna give them a hard time if they can show me a flaw that I missed, and I can go back in the pictures and be like, "Yep, it was there." I'm gonna, offer them pretty much whatever they want. I do recommend I always ask the buyers what they feel will be fair, because 9 times out of 10, what they feel is fair is less than what I would have given them. So I always ask them what they feel would be a fair amount, and I have found seriously 90% it's less than what I was willing to do. So I give them what they asked for and they're happy. And then I'm like, oh, and yeah, I could have given them more, but I want to make sure that they're happy with it. And a lot of times it's less than what I was thinking. Most people are reasonable, guys. Overall in the world, most people are good. I know the bad gets highlighted, but that's just not most people. We did that one. Nancy wants to know, do you cross list? And if you do, which do you recommend?
I do. And since I cross list over to Whatnot from my eBay sometimes, I have eBay. I list on Poshmark. I'm not going to say I sell over there, but there's stuff listed. Bendu is who I would recommend. I'd give you my code, but I'm pretty sure Kat has one, so I won't.
All for Bendu. If they do Bendu, I don't care if you want to give it out, because I do list perfectly.
But yeah, so I mean, several of them are great. Again, watch a couple videos about why someone recommends one other than another. I have always enjoyed Bendu. I enjoy that they have an app, because I'm on my computer now. And other than editing YouTube videos, I don't do a whole lot of reselling from my computer. I have it open when I'm on Whatnot, but I resell from my phone most of the time. So it's important to me to be able to cross list from my phone as well. I feel like it was the most intuitive with something like that.
I do cross list, and I do not use List Perfectly or Vendu or anything like that. I am a manual cross lister. And I know that that takes away time. I actually tried List Perfectly, but again, I'm a phone user. Like Rachel, I'm rarely on my computer. I do my entire business from my phone. So maybe I need to try Vendoo. I've not tried them. But that was my biggest hiccup with List Perfectly, is not being able to do it from a cell phone.
That's right. It was mainly on my phone when I did. The only time I used what I'm talking about meant out loud, I guess, for my brain particles. I used to be on List Perfectly and I loved it, but I have a habit of when I think about something, I want to see for myself how it works out. If my listings are good on its own without saying being promoted, having an eBay store, cross listing. So I removed all of that. And what had me start with List Perfectly, I don't know if they still do now, but they were doing giveaways for like a month trial. And one of the other resellers during this time, my computer was acting up. It was super slow. It took like 4 hours to edit a video, and I was sharing this online. So this person was like, "If you need another computer, go run List Perfectly. They're giving away a tablet or something." So I put my little share post of their video on my end on Instagram. I commented, I tagged 2 other people, I followed them. I did the whole shebang. The next day, got a message, a DM from LP saying that they love my long hair, which I didn't have at the time. And then they're like, "Congratulations, you won the tablet and all this other stuff." And I think 3 months of List Perfectly, I used one of the hats. I used it in the first item I got from eBay to cross list over to Etsy. I had on eBay for I think 3 months. Within 15 minutes, over on Etsy, it sold for $135. Was it because of cross listing or the platform, or was it because I just happened to put it over on another platform? So I started thinking about all these little nuances and got rid of all of it. And I will say I never made as much sales as I did cross listing. So I would say it is worth it. But for me being a ding dong guy with a caveman mentality, sometimes I just want to go bare bones and see how good my items actually are. So maybe I'll do it one day again across list, and maybe I won't. I'm not sure, to use the platform.
Yeah, and I am 120% List Perfectly. They have become like family to me, and I'll tell you the few reasons for me. One is the community. They have live listing parties 24 hours a day. You can have, just like we're having here. You can go ask questions about pricing. You can go do anything. There's always somebody there for you, which is a really, really nice thing. They now do Whatnot, which I love. I've been making a lot of sales on Whatnot on the static marketplace because List Perfectly does now have Whatnot, which is nice. The AI Express Lister is worth the money without cross posting. We can make 10 listings in under 10 minutes, and it's the technology that is in there is so much better than anything else I've seen. With bullet pointed lists, it'll pull in measurements for me. It will identify a lot of gemstones, which is nice. And you can set the tone. I did, if you guys remember, I did funny for a while, and then I was like, no, this is ridiculous. So now we just do professional. We gave up on the funny personality to that. But yeah, so for me, I think it's more community, plus it's doing what I do. For me, I am actually on the computer on my laptop 90% of the time. So for me, it's no big deal with the whole computer aspect because it is a Chrome add-on. But everything except for the actual posting can be done on the phone. Like my employee does everything on the iPhone, all of the creating listings, taking the pictures, all of that. So Becky's asking, is it compatible with a Samsung? Yeah. So you just can't you can't cross post on your phone. You have to go to computer or a Chromebook for that. But you can create you can do every single thing except for like put it to eBay or put it to Posh. Because at that point it's a Chrome add-on. But it's always, and I think I showed it in a couple of my videos. I'm not going to pull it up now. We're already over on time, but and I don't know what Vendoo does because I've never tried anyone because I've been happy with LP. So like I like the sales analytics there. It'll show me like what percent's coming from what platform. I just realized that 5 years in. But so now I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I'm making a ton on Poshmark. Oh, surprise, surprise. But I didn't really, yeah, like I haven't tried other ones because I am happy with what I'm using. All right, let everybody say bye. We almost got to all the questions. We almost got to them. And then they will tell you where they're at. I know Rachel has a show coming up. I think Sonny does too, and I do too. So here is Rachel.
Hi, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for all of your great questions. And thanks to Kat for having me. You can find me across all social media, Rachel Strickland. I think on Instagram, I'm Rachel Strickland Official. That's the only thing that's different. But if you'd like to explore more about Whatnot, pop into my show on Friday at 7 o'clock Central. Again, Whatnot name is Rachel Strickland. If you don't buy anything, hang out and see how a show is ran. And if you want to see how does a show go when you don't start items at $1, then feel free. I have shows a lot like what Kat does, 20 to 30 people in there, and we sell a lot. So I'd love to see you guys on any of the socials. And again, thanks a lot for having me tonight.
Perfect. Here's Ashley.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for letting me hang out with everyone tonight. I've had a really good time. You can find me across socials at Titchy Farm Treasures. Starting out on YouTube, I've been on Instagram for a little while, and then Facebook, of course. But yeah, come take a look.
Perfect. Sonny, what is going on, my friend?
I just want to say thank you to everybody for all their well wishes and prayers for my son and our family. I am so happy to be sharing this news now because it was so sensitive before as we are going through it. It was like overwhelming to where if somebody questioned us, it feels like we were going to break. And it was the helpless feeling that all we could do, which is a lot to be there for our son. But it just felt like it wasn't enough and we just didn't want to be triggered, which is why we held off on information until we felt confident that we were on a better foot for him. And he is. And it's just really nice to be like part of a new community of like, now I could say I actually have a dad bod. I had like a pre-dad bod and like to be a parent. And I got so many, like, I'm already seeing like so many first time things through like a new way of looking at life because of him. And like just seeing people and being happy. It's like another uplifting on the high that I already was. I'm just so blessed. And thanks to the big guy upstairs and for just having faith rather than giving up. And it has to do with a lot with the community that I'm in, like you all that are here and the other people who aren't, that are there for me in their own ways on social media, is that you make a world of difference for me and for each other more than what you realize. And the only way I show that is through my actions. And sometimes I'm not the best, but I like to be what I think that I'm a decent person. That's only say, hey, that's an all right guy, like not thinking bad or me looking over my shoulder. So I am very blessed for you all. My next show on Whatnot, I believe, is Friday, and I am trying to ramp up more sales, but not overdo myself because I want to be here more than anything at home than to be out really sourcing. I'm priorities are in order. I will say that. I've just got to work on my organizational skills.
Yeah, like that's always me, is trying to figure it out. I know for a fact that I'm gonna do a salt and pepper shaker show on Whatnot on Monday. I haven't scheduled it yet. We'll have a research video out on salt and pepper shakers Sunday, and I'll show the collection that I bought. I bought over 250 pairs of salt and pepper shakers. We picked them up yesterday, and tomorrow will be a what sold video for me. I might randomly do a show tomorrow afternoon. I'm not sure. My schedule's so hectic. I really rarely can schedule the shows, which is another reason I like lives. I have friends that make a living just doing pop-ups. They don't schedule anything. They have their community. Like, it's nice that we can just do it when we can. So turn on notifications for me on Whatnot, because I don't know when I'm ever going. I would love to get to where I can schedule it, but I'm not at that point right now. I appreciate Rachel and Ashley coming on, Sonny for being here through all he's got going on. And you guys in the chat, we cannot do it without you. We appreciate you all. And let me see who's on next Tuesday real quick so I can tell you guys, unless Sonny knows before me. Flipping ain't easy, and Cajun Roots reseller Johnny, which Johnny hasn't been on in a long time, so that'll be fun. So yeah, we will have a good show for you guys next week, and we appreciate you all. Bye guys.